territory, but a first down and a pickup of 15. Now John Emery back in the backfield. Daniels wanting to throw again down the middle and complete to Booty. And he's still running, and he might be gone. Kayshon Boutte, touchdown LSU. 53 yards on the scoring strike.
Hello and welcome into Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche, as always, joined by the Bud Man, Buddy Songy. Good to see you, Bud Man. Here we take on a Tuesday. We're at Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. A great place to bring the whole family. Grab some good food at great prices. Old School Barbecue. Jumping right into it, Bud Man. It was a big weekend. SEC Championship Bowl Selection Sunday was also this past weekend. LSU took on Georgia in Atlanta. Of course, final score 50-30. LSU drops that one. We kind of knew going into the game, Bud Man, LSU had to start fast, had to play pretty much perfect, had to play clean, and Georgia would also probably have to help them in order for LSU to win the game. That's not how it started. LSU was going for an early lead for a field goal. It got blocked in return for a touchdown. You saw in the opening, the intro, Kayshon Boutte catches a 50-yard touchdown. He looked like his old self when he used to wear that number 1 on that play. And LSU had a tie game in the first quarter, but after that, it was pretty much all Georgia. And Stetson Bennett did a great job in the pocket for the Bulldogs. Just too much talent across the board. Georgia's got a legit roster. LSU trying to still rebuild a little bit, not a lot of depth. So all things considered, Bud Man, I was happy with the fight. Of course, Daniels goes out. Nussmeier comes in, looked pretty good. The best I've seen Nuss look in a Tiger uniform. The LSU Tigers throw for over 500 yards in the air. So some good things, but losing 2 games in a row. Coach Brian Kelly's squad certainly looking forward to the Citrus Bowl against Purdue come January 2nd.
Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Of course, once we get into December, it goes quickly with Christmas. So we are taping on December the 6th. As you alluded to, you had this, the opening. I played the old KC and the Sunshine Band, Shake, 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 Shake Your Booty, and it was good to see number 7.
Yep.
Not only did he put his foot in the ground and explode, but he showed that great speed that he's got. Best play and best performance since he's been injured. But then we get the news yesterday that he's coming back. And so that's good news for you Tiger fans if you've been at the beach or wherever. Kayshon Boutte's coming back. Yep. And Jack Besh, in the second day of the portal, has decided that he is going to put his name in the transfer portal. We had heard about this 3 or 4 days before the game. Most people feel like he will head to TCU or somewhere in that neighborhood. But, look, early Christmas present getting in the SEC championship game. We talked about it all year long. This football team has played up and down. Special teams, JP, we were talking about it before the show. You want to keep Brian Polian on the staff, but you just can't continue to let him be the special teams coach. Just too many faux pas. And do you know they had the same formation against Georgia on that field goal in game 13 as they did in the one against Florida State when they blocked the PAT, not going into overtime. So special teams, look, I'm not trying to take a shot at Coach Polian. Worst I've ever seen in 35 years of covering LSU. The problem that you have is that because they're running on empty and because they want to redshirt some of these guys that played in 4 games, you have minimal numbers. But when you fair catch a punt and the crowd goes crazy, that goes to show you how bad special teams and punt return and kickoff return have been. That all being said, interesting game. Jaden Daniels didn't practice a lot last week, gave it a go. That all being said, he gets hurt. He tried his best. Everybody in that team respects him. And Nussmeier comes out and throws it around. Now, he did have an INT and a fumble, but you're going to get that. But can you believe it? In a half, 294 yards passing against the vaunted Georgia defense. Granted, they were playing prevent, and they had some of their backups in. But it gives the Tiger fan base a lot of things to ponder as we get into crazy transfer portal season.
Right, transfer portal opened up on the 5th. We tape here on the 6th on a Tuesday. Bud, man, you talk about Daniels, and he gets hurt, and Nussmeier steps up, and There's been some talk if Jayden Daniels is going to come back next year for his senior season or redshirt senior season. The quarterback room would be really crowded, but man, of course you have Walker Howard that's already redshirt this season. You bring in Ricky Collins. You also have another 5-star that's committed to LSU
for 24.
For 24. Do you see Jayden Daniels coming back first? And if he does, do you keep every quarterback in that room? You talk about Nussmeier, Walker Howard, and Ricky Collins?
Boy, I tell you what, that is on the plate of Brian Kelly as we talk about it. Look, folks, we got into a little bit of the number of hats that you're wearing. Oh, by the way, everybody knows it was a trio of losses. Certainly the Saints gave one away last night on Monday Night Football. I don't want to get JP's blood pressure up.
Thank you.
So we'll minimize that talk.
Thank you.
And, of course, the SEC championship game. And then, as we know, Southern got beat again for the second time.
Yep.
With Deion, who's moving over to Colorado. But lo and behold, you talk about all the things that you have had to juggle and put this thing and piece this thing together. Look, folks, Brian Kelly has said all along, we value character and locker room culture and going to class and being a man and doing it the right way more so than athletic talent.
Right.
And so just because a guy's a 5-star does not mean he's going to have a place. He's got to fit.
Right.
As you alluded to with the quarterback situation, my information that I've got is that Jayden Daniels is probably going to come back. Secondly, Garrett Nussmeier probably going to come back. You know how it works. He may have gotten an NIL deal after that performance in game.
Certainly.
And then, as you know, Walker Howard's had to be patient, and he redshirted. Ricky Collins is not a factor. He's going to be forward regardless of what happens. But it is very tough to try and ascertain how this thing is going to play out because, look, Daniels wants to play. Nussmeier wants to play. And Howard, who's now sat for a year, wants to play. You see all the quarterbacks in the transfer portal. Nobody's taking a patience pill anymore, folks. You don't get what you want, blanket. I'm going to put my name in the transfer portal. So this is something, we talk about juggling balls. This is a big juggle for Brian Kelly and the LSU staff right now, not just at quarterback, but at wide receiver and all the other skill positions.
Right, so LSU loses the SEC championship. The Saints lose last night, Monday Night Football against the Bucks. Southern lost to J-State in the SWAC championship. Tulane, however, did win their AAC championship game, knocked off UCF, who beat them earlier in the season, 45-28 for Coach Willie Fritz. So congratulations to him. The only Louisiana school to win their conference championship. But man, you talk about Southeastern, Southern, LSU, Tulane, all in their conference championships. That's a good sign for LSU. I mean, for Louisiana State football. Yeah,
and Willie Fritz is up for the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year. Quite frankly, I think Sonny Dykes with TCU probably deserves it. But Willie Fritz has got to be in the top 3. Oh, by the way, don't know if it's a reflection on the last couple of days, but the OC at TCU won the Frank Broyles Assistant of the Year. Matt House, of course, was in that running, and let's be honest, they're running on empty right now as far as defense, and that to me is where I think the emphasis has got to be. Did you see a lot of backups on that D-line? They were worn out. And here's the question. What's going to happen with B.J. Ojolari? What's going to happen with Jaquelin Roy? What's going to happen with some of these DBs? So it never ends if you're a Tiger fan, but it never ends if you're a Tiger coach, mom and daddy, or a player.
We have a lot more here on Tigers Roar. Going to take our first break. Before we do so, and remind you guys, go check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. It's a great way to keep up with everything we do here on Tigers Roar. If you missed any of this program or any programs in the past, go check it out. They're all archived for your viewing pleasure right there on our YouTube page. While you're there, click subscribe so you're notified every time we post something new here at the Pelican. So go check it out, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. When we come back from this break, we'll have some tape from the past weekend, SEC Championship. LSU went down to Atlanta to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll show you some highlights from that game. We come back. Don't go anywhere. You are watching Tigers Roar.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology, which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
Right now, at both locations of Team Honda, the Dream Deal sales event is now even better. For a limited time, get 0% financing on a great selection of certified Hondas. The savings are yours at Team Honda on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge and Team Honda of Acadiana on I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Hey now, give it your best, put the broken lies to rest. Look up to the skies, I see desire in your eyes, but you can't keep it in your heart. 'Cause misery loves company. 'Cause misery loves company. Cold and hungry like a dog in the street. I get a raw deal every one.
And we continue here on Tigers Roar. Jonathan Poche, Buddy Songy here at Old School Barbecue, bringing it to you. Talking some LSU football. SEC Championship was this past weekend as we tape here on December the 6th. But, man, this year has gone by so fast. Already in bowl season. Of course, Selection Sunday was this past weekend. Some good matchups, but, man, LSU pulls the Citrus Bowl against Purdue, who won the west side of the Big Ten. An opponent that Coach Kelly is familiar with.
Sure.
In a bowl that Coach Kelly is familiar with. Come to think of it, back in 2017, Coach Kelly was in a Citrus Bowl facing the LSU Tigers.
I can't remember what happened, but LSU should have won that game. Obvious. And, of course, Brian Kelly was asked about that by Michael Cobble the last couple of days. But look, folks, it's an early Christmas present. I think everybody feels like LSU is ahead of schedule. But now, JP, with the crazy landscape of college football, you don't know if a guy is happy on your team. You don't know if somebody is calling his high school coach or his mom and daddy and saying, guess what? I can get you such and such dollars and you'll start. I mean, there is tampering going on. Yeah. This is like free agency in the NFL, but there's no salary cap.
Right.
And so, as we know in this world, you have to adjust. You have to stay on top of things. Going to be interesting, and in another 4 or 5 days, I think everybody will know who's coming back, who's playing in the bowl game, who's going to opt out, and possibly who you're going to start bringing in here, because you got to fill some spots, and I think defense is really where they need to go.
We'll take you back to this past Saturday. We do have some highlights from the SEC Championship. We'll ask Alan, and the truck is doing a great job for us. Go ahead and roll those highlights. We'll continue this conversation. But, man, we talked about it, that LSU had to start fast on offense, try to get an early lead, march down the field on this possession. You see here Daniels being very decisive at the top of his drop, getting the ball to playmakers. Here's a third down, and the ball was dropped, so Georgia takes over. But LSU did a good job on defense in this first series, causing the 3 and out.
Yeah, and the Tigers started well. Look, it's about 85 to 90% Georgia fans. Not too many LSU fans showing up. And there's Kirby Smart, who's trying to defend as the national champions. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and, of course, Ohio State.
That was a great catch right there by Malik Neighbors. He had 5 catches, 128 yards, and a touchdown on the day. The receivers really showed out for the Tigers.
And they were happy when, obviously, Nussmeier came in here. And here is, once again, Malik Neighbors making a great catch and run after the catch.
Yeah, this is a good drive by the Tigers. Completed a few passes in a row, was moving the chains, got down to the green zone or red zone, whatever you want to call it. Was going to take an early lead, but we'll let you see here in the highlights what happens. Get down close, and then Jaden Daniels takes a bad sack, forcing an attempt by Ramos, and then something awful truly happens. It's not about the execution, Bud, man. Block field goals, block extra points are going to happen in the season. But for your entire special
watch
teams
the formation. You see how there wasn't a protector on the left side?
Yeah.
Same crappy formation they had against Florida State. Brian Kelly's got to take special teams under his wing.
For your entire special teams unit not to understand that the ball is still live is unexcusable, Bud, man. That it has to be portrayed from the coaches to the players.
Yep, no doubt about it. And that was a gift. That's a 10-point play right there, 10-point swing for Georgia.
That's right, 10 points. Going in for a 3-point lead. You'll see it one more time. Just gets the big paw right up the middle, 78 right there. And look, everyone on the Tigers team just turns around and walks to the sidelines. Try to regroup for LSU. Josh Williams, nice catch out the backfield. He was pretty good through the air, I guess, as a receiving option at the running back spot. But, man, the running game was tough for the Tigers.
Well, look, and here we go with Kayshon Boutte looking like he did in 20 when he had 300-plus yards against Ole Miss, and in 21 before his injury.
Yeah, LSU rushing the ball, only had 47 net yards on the ground. Jaden Daniels, who's usually pretty good for Tigers on the ground, with all the sacks he took, netted -6 yards on 6 carries. So,
and that's where Boutte has not looked. That explosion and that extra gear at the end, we hadn't seen that. Jaden Daniels obviously couldn't run, had a gimpy ankle going in, and got turned over again with the ankle.
Yep. There's Brock Bowers getting down low. He's one of the best tight ends in the country, if not the premier tight end in the country. Still a young kid, but 19, such a threat when you get down that close to that end zone.
Really? You got Sage Ryan one-on-one. I'll take Bowers every time in that situation.
Yep, so we knew the tight end position was going to be one that was going to be a matchup problem for LSU, but they certainly exploited that matchup in that situation right there. LSU holds Georgia to a field goal attempt. Joink. And right here, 21-7, you kind of feel like LSU can get something going, grab some momentum back, but unfortunately it didn't happen. It jumps up 35-7 right here.
How is that not an extra? I tell you, these officials in this game, once again, the last 2 or 3 games, officiating really, really bad. You can look at that for targeting. They return to target. It's SEC officiating has been horrible all year long.
Yeah, that was a tough catch right there by Jack Dash. There's another completion right here to Kayshon Boutte. 6 seconds before half, you see how gimpy Jaden Daniels is. You try to tape that ankle, but there's only so much you can do for it. Coach Kelly says he's going to need about a week to 10 days to get back right.
Damian Ramos has done a pretty good job, but once again has had a couple low kicks, a couple of blocks. They got to get that fixed.
That's right. 1 for 2 on the day is the completion. Fumble here for the Georgia Bulldogs. They hop back on it. Jay Ward with a tackle for loss. I think the consecutive play, another drop ball, but here Jay Roy jumps on it. LSU gets a turnover.
Yeah, and look, I was talking to JP about this before the year. LSU ended up a -1 in turnover ratio. 13 games, only 6 INTs. Got to do better there, JP.
Harold Perkins, who wasn't much of a factor last game against Texas A&M, 10 total tackles, 8 solo. Also had 1.5 tackles for loss and a forced fumble. He led the Tigers defense, followed by Micah Backersfield, who had 9 total tackles, 6 solo. Touchdown by Neighbors right there. Nussmeier was cooking. He has a great arm, Bud, man.
And look, he just got it over. Look, we all know it's about putting that football in between windows. Saw Brian Kelly talking to him after that touchdown. Nussmeier gives you the vertical passing game that Jaden Daniels does not bring.
Yeah, Nussmeier went 15 of 27, 294 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did have the interception and the fumble, but look, that's a special throw right there, Budman. You drift off to the right, go back over the middle, hit your speedy receiver in stride. That is not easy to do.
No doubt about it. Here's a nice run. This is a great run by Josh Williams. And let me tell you what, folks, probably should have taken a little more angle towards the middle, but that young man is the salt of that football team.
Yep.
And, of course, there you get it in with Noah Cain in the touchdown.
That's right. So that 47-yard run was long for LSU on the day for Williams. Noah Cain had the touchdown right there. Not very effective on the day, though. He had 3 carries for only 7 yards. Did have that touchdown. So Josh Williams was the only running threat LSU had, but through the air, LSU was able to do some special things behind Nussmeier.
And once again, here's a great adjustment to the football by Jeray Jenkins.
Chen did a good job right there, ball in the air. He went up and got it, cut off his man, high point of the ball. That ball could have been intercepted if the DB makes a better play, but Jeray Jenkins did a great job going to get it.
Of course, here's Kyron Lacey. He had a couple of drops in the Texas A&M game. He caught the football much better. And here's one of the problems you have. This is the Joe Burrow type of play. Remember that one?
Sure is, yep. Same against the same team, too. And against Georgia, rolling out to the right, avoiding somebody, throw a touchdown. I believe Joe Burrow's pass was to Justin Jefferson, who got caught at like the 8-yard line.
Right.
Yeah, that play was certainly similar to Joe Burrow's play in his SEC championship game against Georgia. So, look, Nussmeier showed some bright spots. He's a gamer. He likes to get out there and make things happen. He's a playmaker. He's not the runner Jaden Daniels is, but, I mean, you get almost 300 yards and a half against the number 1 team in the nation. That's pretty special, bud, man.
Now, granted, we do have to say that they did have a big lead, and they took some of their stars off the field because they didn't want to get them hurt. Obviously, they're number 1 seed. They'll play Ohio State in Atlanta in the first semifinal, and, of course, TCU and Michigan in the other one. A couple of stats that you got to improve on. LSU's defensive line and defense, 25 sacks. They gave up 45 sacks. Now, Nuss is not nearly as mobile and have the escapability of Jaden Daniels, but Jaden Daniels held the football long. So the question is, how do you get the best and keep everybody happy if you're going to try and play 2 guys in 2023? And who's the odd man out and who leaves? That's what you and I were talking about during the break.
Well, now that the regular season's kind of wrapped up, LSU sits at 9-4, 6-2 in the SEC, their first year under Coach Brian Kelly. A little bit over a year ago, he took the job, only had 39 scholarship players. The whole deal, had to rebuild the whole staff. You bring back the offensive line coach, but that's it. I mean, it's a total rebuild for LSU. You beat Alabama. You beat Florida on the road. You beat Auburn on the road for the first time in LSU history. Pretty good year 1 for Coach Brian Kelly, no?
Beat Lane Kiffin as well after being down at halftime. Look, you look at the Florida, Ole Miss, and Alabama game. I think they peaked after that. Yeah. Really have not played as well. But they're running on empty. And they're keeping this thing together with duct tape. So I give a lot of high grades, but the great thing about it is a lot of promise moving towards the future. Yeah. Almost everybody coming back on offense. Jeray Jenkins leaving and trying to make it on Sundays. And I think he's got a chance because he can play special teams.
He's got a good body, too. We'll take our second break of the afternoon. Come back and join us, and we'll be hearing from Coach Brian Kelly. He had a press conference via the Zoom on Sunday, the day after the SEC championship, talking about this Citrus Bowl, talking about the year as a whole, reflecting a little bit. You don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to miss it. We'll hear from head coach Brian Kelly after this break, and you are watching Tigers Roar.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Make the most of every moment together in a 3-row Mazda CX-9. Find yours during the season of inspiration.
Make no payments for 90 days on a new CX-9 during the season of inspiration at Team Mazda.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun, too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
Caught spiders, Premier Pest Services.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
And we continue here on Tigers Roar. Jonathan Poche, the Bud Man, Buddy Songy from Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. They have a great lunch special each and every day. They're open. The Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich, under $8. You get 2 sides and a drink. Come check it out. Bring the whole family. Great atmosphere. TVs all over the wall, and you never know who might be shooting TV, Bud Man, here at Old School Barbecue. Hopping back into it, Bud Man. Bowl Selection Sunday was this past weekend. LSU draws Purdue in the Cheez-It sponsored Citrus Bowl. Camping World Stadium, Orlando, Florida, a place LSU has gone before. Familiar foe and Coach Brian Kelly and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. LSU did not prevail in that game, but that's the past. We're only looking forward, Bud Man. January 2nd, it says 1 p.m., but it's actually 12 Central. That game's going to be on ABC. And Coach Brian Kelly knows that his team has to kind of regroup. They have some injuries. They have some guys that they can get some valuable practice time with these extra practice for the bowl. They plan to take full advantage of that, Bud Man.
Yeah, I don't know how many years ago, but they played Penn State over there. Remember, the field was a mess. They have gone to AstroTurf. And so 4 weeks from yesterday, that game, that is going to be on a Monday, January 2nd at noon. LSU, a slight favorite in that game. Interesting to see Jaden Daniels. How quickly will he come back? He's not going to practice for 10 days. Yeah. Will Nussmeier get more reps? Who's opting out? Does Jack Besh looks like he's not going to be there because he opted out and is already in the transfer portal. Oh, by the way, Brian Kelly finished second in the coaches poll. Josh Heupel from Tennessee won that award. B.J. Ojulari makes coach's first team All SEC today. And as you would imagine, Will Campbell, Emory Jones, of course, Harold Perkins, and Mason Taylor all making some freshman All-SEC and All-American teams.
That's right. Coaches All-SEC team also. B.J. Ojulari, first team. Will Campbell, Harold Perkins, and Mekhi Wingo, all second team. So you get accolades when you win the SEC West. You beat Bama, you beat Florida on the road, you beat Auburn on the road. These are the type of awards you're going to get. And Coach Brian Kelly, I think that's great. That's a great job. These players deserve the accolades, but this is not where they wanted to finish the season. I mean, yeah, it's great for year one. They won the West. They beat Bama. But their goal is to graduate champions. And one good thing, Bud Man, going into this bowl season, there's not going to be a lot of worry about who's going to be ineligible because of grades, because this staff under Coach Brian Kelly has preached from day one how important it was for them to be successful in the classroom first and then to the football field.
And Coach Kelly and that staff have gotten a taste of Baton Rouge culture and LSU fan base, and the last thing he wants to do is lose not one but two, but the last three games.
Yep.
JP, Brian Kelly, and the staff know that. They're going to try to win this football game. I watched Purdue against Michigan. They are not a bad football team. I think LSU has the advantage on the speed, but you better be ready to play. Good that it's an AstroTurf, so regardless of all those crazy games, but the next two games LSU play are in the same stadium. If you remember, Citrus Bowl here I guess 20-some days from today, and then they open up against Florida State, who, by the way, got news. Their quarterback, Travis, is coming back, so that'll be a tough game. I'm impressed with Florida State in the year they had this year.
Certainly. What you guys hear from head coach, here is Brian Kelly, his press conference via Zoom this past Sunday as we tape here on December 6th, Tuesday, from Old School Barbecue. Here's head coach Brian Kelly.
Certainly excited about. And I know our team certainly is looking forward to getting back on the winning ways. You know, we've lost 2 games, obviously to the number 1 team in the country this past weekend. But again, playing Purdue, a team that won their side of the Big Ten. I have a lot of respect for Jeff and his teams play with an edge. Played him when I was at Notre Dame, and he's got a great creative offense, really good defensive structure, and it'll be a great matchup between 2 teams that want to go out on a winning note. We've had good years, but we want them to be years that finish on a positive note. So excited about being back in Orlando, seeing some old friends. Really appreciate this opportunity to play in this game, and certainly against a Big Ten team that's so well coached by Coach Brown.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Coach, you put this big emphasis on graduating champions in academics. This is that time of year where guys could be ineligible. Like I guess last year there were a few for a bowl game. How much do you feel like you guys have done a good job with that, so they have their grades in order and whatnot? And then if I could ask a second question, just, in this new era when you sometimes don't know who's going to play in the bowl and who's not.
Yeah, we'll have that all sorted out over the next 24, 48 hours. Certainly, you don't worry about academics just one day. We've been on it since we've got here. Every single day has been working to improve who we are academically and how we do things on a day-to-day basis. So this isn't just like, hey, the season's over. Let's worry about our guys in the classroom. I'm in every meeting every week when it comes to academics. Our staff is aware of that. So could there be somebody ineligible? There might be. We have some guys that have to continue to do some things at the end here, but we've made great strides there. And I feel really good about the progress we've made academically with our guys recognizing the value of a degree from LSU. And then there's guys that are evaluating whether, they should be playing in a bowl game or should they, be working out and preparing for, an all-star game, or, should they be preparing to, get better for a combine run? Look, those are all things that we'll help and counsel our guys with, and we'll give them both sides of the story. Is it better to practice and prepare and work on your skill development as you kind of get ready for, an East-West Shrine game or a Senior Bowl? Is that better than trying to run a 40? We'll give them all that information, and then ultimately it's their choice, and we'll support them in whatever choice they in fact make.
I want to see what you thought of Garrett Nussmeier's performance and how you graded it.
I thought Garrett did some really good things. Clearly, he's a guy that has got a strong arm, sees the field well, fit the ball into some tight windows. He made some mistakes as well, which, clearly, those are areas that he'll have to improve on. But, I think going in, and doing the things that we kind of thought he was capable of, I hope he leaves there, in this experience with a lot of confidence that he can go in and lead our football team to, championships. And because that's how we felt about him, and I think I was on record saying that we've got 2 really good quarterbacks. And if Jaden couldn't play, we believed in Garrett. Please go to the audio tape that we could win with Garrett. And I think he did a really nice job. There's some things we got to clean up, but he's a good quarterback too.
Curious, just your thoughts in a little more detail on Jeff Brom, from kind of what he was at Western Kentucky to how he's now put together a roster and plays offensively at Purdue.
Yeah, listen, I think he's got a national reputation as a creative play caller, and he is. Let's face it, he's very creative. I think he does a really good job. They're going to throw the football, and they always have a big physical back, and which they do again this year. But they play with an edge. I mean, this is a team that he talked about. We're good old Purdue, and hey, we're going to rally. And listen, he coaches his guys and does a great job of getting them ready to play physical football. Indiana, Midwest, toughness. He recruits those kind of guys. So it's not just talk. I mean, I've gone against them, and they play physical. They play hard. And you better be ready to play for 4 quarters because they're going to come after you for 4 quarters. It's not just about pretty plays and creative play calling. And that happens too. But I think what makes his team different is they play really hard and they play physical.
It's Mike Cobble. I was just curious your memories of playing LSU in this bowl game. I don't have the best memory. Somebody can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought LSU got hosed on a goal line touchdown against the Irish. Just from the other side now, your thoughts on that game?
Oh, that definitely was not a touchdown. No, I don't think that was. And I can only see it from one perspective. So I was on the wrong sideline at that time. But what I do remember about the game in particular was, from an offensive standpoint, LSU struggling offensively, and LSU playing really good defense, and then making a play. Notre Dame making a play down the sideline. Miles Boykin went up. The ball was I think deflected, and he just stayed with it, made a play down the sideline, and I think that was really the difference. Both teams, kind of struggled on offense, and it was a kind of a defensive struggle, and made a play down the stretch and came up with the win. And it was cold. And that never happens in Orlando. It's not supposed to, right? At least that's what Steve Hogan tells me.
So far, has there been any timetable or any news on Jaden's ankle, or what's the process going to be moving forward with Jaden?
Yeah, he's probably going to need about a week to 10 days. So we won't practice him this Saturday. So he'll be out this week. Probably take it into the middle of next week before we start to even think about getting him out and around. So give him plenty of time so he's 100% healthy. No sense of re-aggravating it, putting him in a situation where he gets back into a in and out of the lineup kind of situation. So I think Bo Lowry, our head athletic trainer, is looking for at least 10 days where he can really recover and get that thing back to 100%.
Everyone has the answers after the fact, obviously, but what's your opinion on when you have offensively, when you have a 3rd and short, 4th and short, in the shotgun, does a running back, does he get some momentum running to the line and that helps? Or, should you sneak it with the quarterback? Obviously, you had the 4th and 1 yesterday. That was kind of a tough play for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have all of those things. I think, we talked about, a quarterback sneak in that situation. We just didn't feel like our quarterback had done it enough as a backup. We had not repped it enough. We didn't feel as comfortable with it in that situation. We have with Jaden. We just didn't feel as comfortable as the play. We got beat off the ball flat out. Give Georgia credit. They were better at the line of scrimmage, and they beat us off the ball. But I do believe you have to have direct snap. I think you've got to get the ball out on the perimeter. I think you have to strike, not just inside, all the time. You've got to have some – look, if you're going to go for it on 4th down, you're not conservative anyway. So you don't have to be conservative in your play calling. You need to find a way to get a 1st down. And if they're pinching and they're physical and they can knock you back, you got to think about other ways to pick up 1st downs as well.
Coach, I'm just curious. So often all coaches talk about the importance of bowl practices, both for the game, but also just moving into the offseason and next year. Just curious your thoughts there as you move into year 2.
Yeah, I think there's some validity to it, especially going from year one to year two. Like, we protected some guys this year. The Quincy Wiggins, Jaden Davis ran up. I mean, I think there's some young guys that need some work. That I think that this is going to be an effective first, 4 or 5 practices where we really can lean on them and get them a lot of work. And look, we're not blessed where we have, so much depth. I mean, we're still in a position where we've got to build up, this program through recruiting. And that's still, a chief concern. But we do have some young players that we're anxious to see in these first 3 or 4 practices in particular, get out there and really give them a lot of work.
Thank you, Marty. That was head coach Brian Kelly this past Sunday, excuse me. He was via the Zoom call, had a little press conference talking about the Citrus Bowl. That last question you guys heard from Coach Kelly was answering about these early bowl practices and getting some young guys who haven't really had that many reps during the season, like a la Quincy Wiggins, a guy that can really benefit from this extra practice time, Bud, man, because he has a bright future with LSU.
Yeah, he's going to redshirt. There are a handful of guys that have played in 4 games, and they're going to redshirt. So once again, JP started with about 74, 75. Injuries got him down to about 65. Mm-hmm. Now with opt-outs, transfer portal, and red shirts, you're going to be low numbers again in this bowl game. Interesting to see what they do at the quarterback situation. Do you have a package and a time where you put Garrett Nussmeier in? How healthy will Daniels be? And as we alluded to, with Booty coming back, look, those wide receivers, they want to eat. And as we know, they want to see the ball thrown down the field. Yep. So it's going to be an interesting year, but early Christmas present to see LSU playing in the SEC championship.
That's right. Coach Brian Kelly has a lot of respect for Purdue head coach Jeff Brom, a guy who's very creative in his play calling, a team that knows how to spread the field out and big windows to throw the ball into. Big physical running back and a defense that is solid. So they only won, I believe, 8 games this season, but won the West of the Big Ten. So they play, good brand of football in the Big Ten. This is going to be a pushover game, go beat on Aunt Sally's or school of playground football kids. Purdue's also a team that wants to end the season on a high note. They're not looking to, lose and head into the offseason either. This is going to be a good matchup. Coach Brian Kelly knows you can't lose 3 in a row at the end of the game, like you mentioned already, Bud, man. So a lot needs to happen between now and January 2nd, about 25 days away as we tape here on December 6th. But Coach Kelly's group looking forward to the opportunity to get back on that winning feeling and moving to this offseason in a good note. The transfer portal is open. It's been flooded already. Coach Prime got a new job. He's no longer in the SWAC. He moved to Colorado University. They're going to get a bunch of money flooded into Colorado now with the ticket sales and the NIL deal. So he's going to get recruits. You saw what he's able to do at J-State. Got a big bonus, a big bump in salary. Happy for Coach Prime. I thought he did a great job at J-State. Put a lot of eyes on the SWAC. So happy for him, Bud, man. And looking forward to the Citrus Bowl, LSU versus Purdue.
I asked my college expert, Pete Cardelli, about prime time. Coach Prime, you don't like to be called prime time now. It's Coach Prime. Getting upwards of $5.78 million and going to bring his son and a lot of but hired the head coach from Kent State. I don't know if you're familiar with this. They go real quick. And, I mean, they were going to spend money, and with that altitude, you're going to see Colorado as one of the most explosive teams in the country. They have lost money probably 10, 15 years in a row. Yep. But lo and behold, we shall see. A lot of people think that they're and being in that league with no defense, interesting spot for him to land.
Yeah, we're going to take another quick break. We'll come back and we'll be joined by Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Always good to spend some time here on Tigers Roar with Mike. You don't want to miss it. Come back and join us. You are watching Tigers Roar.
taste the feeling.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Right now, at both locations of Team Honda, the Dream Deal sales event is now even better. For a limited time, get 0% financing on a great selection of certified Hondas. The savings are yours at Team Honda on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge and Team Honda of Acadiana on I-49, just south of Opelousas.
As always, taping here on a Tuesday evening, second day of the transfer portal. LSU with the 50-30 loss, but a record number of passing yards. JP, Mike Scarborough followed LSU all year long, giving you the latest with recruits, the transfer portal, and the ins and outs of LSU football. Mike, happy Tuesday. How are we doing today?
Doing good. It's, of course, Jack Beck got in the portal, but compared to some other schools, LSU's been uneventful so far.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about that portal. Last year, JP and Mike, Brian Polian did a great job, along with the rest of the coaches, of just filling the team with bodies. Mike, in your opinion, where does LSU need to look for the portal, and how many more players do you expect to get in there? Alabama, Arkansas, and Florida already with double digits in the portal, JP.
Yep. Yeah, I think Brian Kelly's done a fantastic job of imploring on his guys to sit down for their individual meetings, and I don't know what to say as far as what the over and under might be. Some might think it might be 6 or 7, but so far it's been only Jack Bech, and Jack Bech is it's one of those deals that we've had those debates on our shows all year long, where it's if you want Jack to get more reception, who would you be sitting down?
Yep.
And it's a different offense this year than it was last year, and the number of wide receivers that are on the field now with Mason Taylor being in the fold.
Right, and some good news. LSU did get Mike, not out the transfer portal, but a guy coming back. Kayshon Boutte declares he's coming back for his senior season. Did you expect that, or were you surprised by it? And how big of a deal is that for LSU?
No, I mean we kind of debated. It makes sense for that maybe he needed to come back. Yeah. But then you can also know what kind of athlete he is. I thought, well, maybe even though he only had 500-something yards receiving, he could very well be the type of kid that would go train with a guru and, spend a month and a half or 2 months in Atlanta with somebody and, go to the combine and put up some crazy numbers, and then they would reflect back on previous years at LSU. But,
yeah.
That's a big get, and I got to think there was probably most likely an NIL part of that whole deal.
Yeah.
And listen, let's not kid ourselves. That Jack also, that affects Jack. Look, I don't think he's ever been the same since the botched kickoff against Tennessee. Mike, I thought Jack was going to be the third down go-to guy, but Malik Neighbors evolved into that role this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, it's like, okay, who do you target him ahead of? Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Butte, Jeray Jenkins. I will say I would be targeting him ahead of Kyron Lacey, but then Lacey did redeemed himself and had some nice receptions in Atlanta. But in College Station, he had a couple that were pretty significant.
And also, JP, you got 4 studs coming in. Shelton Sampson is a big, rangy, tall, fast wide receiver. Kyle Parker, Jaylen Brown, and Mike, who's the other one? There's one other one coming in. That they've got some excellent talent coming in at wide receiver as well. That might have impacted the decision.
Oh, absolutely. And it might not be done there. But when you start saying, what might they go for in the portal, and you start listing each position, if there's a great player in a position that maybe isn't such a need, you kind of act like Jimmy Johnson and you take him anyways.
Yeah.
Kai Preen, that other name that I omitted.
From St. James, and he's visiting officially this weekend.
Hey, JP and I were talking before the show, Mike. LSU does not have the breakaway running back. If you could, I saw Frank and Kelly going to Caleb Jackson's house, and, of course, they're working hard with Trey Holly. But what do you expect the running back room to look like next year?
Well, I think, you get those 2 guys, and then I think that they'll go in the portal and get a big-timer. And who could that be? But I think there's going to be 3 new running backs, the 2 freshmen and a portal kid to be named later.
Yeah. I want to get both of you guys' opinion on something. The Heisman finalists were announced last night. During Monday Night Football is when I saw it. RG3 gave the little thing at halftime when the Saints were actually leading the game against the Bucs. But for the past few years, I've kind of noticed this trend where really the Heisman finalists only comes down to the quarterback on the best teams across the league. There's usually that that one token defender that kind of lets everybody believe maybe somebody on defense is going to win it this year. But there you see the finalists on the screen right there. Stetson Bennett from Georgia. I don't like that as a finalist. I thought Hendon Hooker had a better season than Stetson Bennett. Of course, Georgia is number 1. Hendon Hooker got hurt, missed some time, so I kind of understand it. But Max Duggan, TCU, C.J. Stroud, Ohio State, and Caleb Williams from USC, 4 pretty premier programs and all quarterbacks. So shouldn't they kind of combine the Heisman with the Danny O'Brien, the best quarterback trophy? Do they need to change the way they vote these finalists in, or are y'all okay with just 4 quarterbacks from the 4 best teams?
Is this possibly the weakest year of Heisman finalists?
Absolutely.
Yep.
It really is. It was a no-doubter with the most votes getting ever, Joe Burrow. But this year, those are all good players, but there's nobody there where you're just like, oh, yeah, he's the guy.
Right.
Caleb Williams was thought to be the front runner, and if USC had won and he had a big game, I think he would have won it. Of course, we know that the kid from TCU is the salt of the earth. So is Stetson Bennett the third, although most people think he is just a manager of the game. And then C.J. Stroud was the leader early in the year, but he's fallen off. I don't know who gets it, JP, but I agree with you guys. Weakest quartet I've seen in a long, long time. And I'm sorry, derogatory messages on a guy that's painting his fingernails, that turned me off, even though Mike told me how good Caleb Williams was when he saw him originally out at LSU camp. How many years ago was that, Mike? 2 or 3 years ago?
That would have been the summer of 2019.
Wow.
Should be a close vote, though.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree. I think Stetson Bennett is more of a game manager. He dumps the ball off on short slants to 4 and 5-star athletes, playing with one of the best defenses in the nation. Look, he does manage the game very well. He's a very good college quarterback. but I think he gets a lot of accolades based on the system he's in and the defense Georgia has.
Well, and he's about a year away from getting AARP mail.
Yeah. Right. Well, I can relate to that, Mike. Hey, Mike, let's get back to that question about what you think this football team needs after we have analyzed this thing until the cows come home. To me, it's on the defensive side, specifically more depth at the D-line. And, Mike, it looks like they're going to have to reload and rebuild the whole secondary again. Do you feel like in recruiting in the portal they will get that done?
I do. I think LSU is right where they've been, an it school. And Brian Kelly's got a lot of excitement around him. And I think without even knowing any names, I'm confident in believing and saying that BK, whatever the number ends up being as far as how many they take in the portal, it'll be one of the better portal hauls in the country.
All right, Mike, just a few minutes left here on Tigers Roar. We'll let you give it the opportunity to tell everybody out there how they can subscribe today to TigerBait.com.
That's it. Go to TigerBait.com. You can try us out for $1 for 1 week. We've got a lot of recruiting stuff, transfer portal, video, of course. Our YouTube show, LSU Tigers on YouTube. LSU Tigers on TigerBait is the name of our YouTube channel. And you can follow me on Twitter at Scarborough Mike.
A great Christmas present. You give an LSU fan a year subscription, it is worth every penny, Mike.
Yeah, I think I looked at the numbers, and 96% of those who received TigerBait as a Christmas gift ended up the following year renewing on their own.
There you go. That's a good deal.
Thank you, buddy.
Mike.
Great job as always.
All right, guys. Talk to y'all soon.
And, a guy like Mike, I mean, every time there is a guy that opts out or a story, he's on that. We do TV once a week. I do the show every day from 1 to 3. But, man, 24/7, you get burnt out a little bit. But it's been a heck of a year, JP. Who would have said LSU would go SEC championship game the first year? Who would have said they beat Alabama in the first year? A lot of perks, although I detect a lot of the fans are not quite as interested after those last 2 losses.
No, I agree with you, Bud, man. You heard Coach Brian Kelly in the locker room after the SEC championship saying, look, guys, we have laid the foundation. And, Bud, man, it looks like a solid foundation built on very talented young players and a very, very savvy, competent coaching staff that knows how to operate this transfer portal, who's coming, who's going, landscape of college football. It helps to have 30-some-odd years of experience with Coach Brian Kelly, and very articulate, great communicator, and he has all the players really buying in, Bud, man.
And everybody that's a Tiger fan wants for Christmas a punt returner and a kickoff returner. Got to get better at special teams.
Yeah.
But once again, count your blessings, folks.
We certainly appreciate you tuning into this episode of Tigers Roar. If you missed anything in this program or any Tigers Roars in the past, go to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. It's a great way to keep up with everything we do here at the Pelican. Until the next time, I want to thank you guys. For Alan in the truck, for Marty on the floor, I'm Jonathan Poche. He's the Bud Man, Buddy Songy. We certainly appreciate you watching this episode of Tigers Roar.